how's it going?
Okay. Good.
Have a good one. Thanks. Hello everyone, it is another beautiful day out on the trails. Appreciate you being here on this week's episode of Trail Talk. Insert sound effects.
Trail Talk.
So last week we talked about, or I reviewed the Solomon Advanced Skin 5-pack. That's what I'm wearing today. And as promised, this week I am talking about the Speedland SL HSV Hyper Performance Trail Shoe. So if you're new to the channel, I would appreciate if you would hit that subscribe button. And of course, thank you for being here, whether you're subscribed or not. Trail Talk is a weekly video that I publish every Monday. We talk about running gear, we talk about nutrition, talk about just running related topics, the runner's life, whatever we want. But as I mentioned today, we're talking about the Speedland SL HSV trail shoe. So I have put in about 80 miles in this trail shoe and have really enjoyed the shoe, but wanted to share some more in-depth thoughts about its performance and how the shoe has been for me. So I did publish a video, kind of an initial impressions video, where I talk about the specs and some other thoughts on the shoe. So you can check that out on the channel. I'll post a link in the description. Today, we're going to talk about more how the shoe has been, the performance of the shoe. Probably one of the things that you're wondering, and I will answer by the end of this video, is how is its performance, and of course, is it worth it? Because you've probably gathered at this point, the Speedland SL HSV trail shoe is not a cheap shoe. At $375, that is a lot of money to spend on a shoe, no matter how good it is. So we're gonna cover whether that price tag is worth it or not. All right, so before we get to the review of the shoe, let's go put in some miles on the trail here. In fact, I'm already almost at 10 miles for the day. Met up with a friend, Mark. I appreciate you meeting up and joining me early at 5 a.m. this morning. And I appreciate you being a new member of the channel as well. So shout out to you. All right, let's go put in some miles here on the trail, put together a little montage, and then we'll get to my full review of the Speedland SL HSV trail shoe. Talk to you guys in just a bit. Man, I just love coming out to these trails. That was fun, bombing down the side of that mountain there. All right, so let's talk about this $375 Speedland shoe. Also, if you have any questions about the shoe, or I forget to cover something and you've got a question about that, just drop a comment down below. I'll be sure to provide a reply. Also, I'd like to know from you, what has been your favorite trail shoe to date? Of all time, what is your favorite trail shoe? All right, let's get into this review. I need to grab my notes here because there are definitely some details, some specs that I'm gonna forget. So forgive me while I use my cheat sheet. Starting with the upper of the shoe, moving down to the midsole, and then the outsole. And then I'll talk about just overall performance and how the shoe has been for me, my thoughts on it. Start with the pros, and then we'll get to the cons. Okay, pros. First thing on the list here is the Perform Fit trademark wrap, powered by the BOA Li2 Fit system. So the first pro of the Speedland shoe has got to be that part of the upper. The BOA system is phenomenal. It's very durable, and I love that you can dial in precisely the amount of tension, tightness that you want on your foot. And then the straps that come across your the top of your foot are well spread out and provide really good equal tension to hold your foot in place. It's just really comfortable, more so than your standard lace system would be. It's also really nice with the BOA system to be able to quickly release it and pull your foot out of the shoe, or to change the tension even on the go. Just stop real quick, adjust, go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. The straps are also really durable. I've never had an issue so far with them wanting to break out or rip, so really pleased with them. And there's no hot spots or tension that's felt really anywhere across the foot. Next up is the collar, the Dyneema knit collar. So that's the part that is around your ankle, and the material, that fabric, it's slightly stretchy and it's just really comfortable. There's no hot spots or no wear like against my Achilles heel or my ankles or the top front part of my foot. It's just really nice. So that's another pro. The shoe also has a hook and loop or Velcro attachments on the back down by the heel, and then a hook on the front that you can attach gaiters to if you wish. So that's a nice little feature. And then the last thing I'll mention about the upper is it seems to be very durable. The upper is really quite nice. How's it going? So while the upper as a whole is definitely a pro, a good feature of the shoe, there's one con that I'll get to in a moment. The midsole is made out of a Pebax material, so it's very responsive, provides enough adequate cushioning to absorb your impact and the rocks and such on the trail. And then you also have a Carbitex carbon plate. It's a full plate, and it allows the shoe to flex in multiple directions, as well as a twisting flex, unlike a lot of marathon shoes that have a carbon plate. So the carbon plate in this shoe is well suited for trail running. And I also like that it does provide a little bit of spring when you start to pick up the pace. Now for the average Joe, I don't know if you'll notice the carbon plate in there. You do have the option to remove it if you want, which I would imagine would give you a little more ground feel. I've left the carbon plate in there. It doesn't seem to be too stiff, and I figure it does no harm, maybe more good than harm, to just leave it in there, especially when I do choose to pick up the pace a little bit. You're also looking at a 28mm heel, 23mm forefoot for a 5mm drop. Seems to do just fine for me. With that stack, it doesn't put the shoe in a max stack rating. It does provide adequate stack for most trail conditions. I think if they were to add more stack to that midsole, it wouldn't do much more good, and it would actually do more harm because it would only add more weight to the shoe. On the outsole, that's the rubber part. Ooh, that is definitely a pro. So you have cuttable 3mm lugs. So the 3mm lugs standard, but you have the option to cut part of it down to about 1.5 mm or 2 millimeters, depending on what terrain you are planning to use the shoe in. I have chosen to leave the lugs alone, leave them as is. Frankly, I've been totally happy with the performance of the outsole. The outsole rubber is made by Michelin, and it is extremely grippy. And at 80 miles, I see very little wear on the outsole lugs. Overall, honestly, just really pleased with the outsole. I found it to be super grippy, really instills a lot of confidence. I just don't have to worry about grip or slipping. Does well on trails like this, which are a little more buffed out. Hard packed dirt. Does great in gravel. Does phenomenal on really rocky and rooted technical terrain. It does well in wet. I mean, this outsole is among the best that I've ever tried. So well done there, Speedland. Well done. So now you're probably wondering about the general fit of the shoe. The toe box is probably among the widest that I've ever worn, but I haven't worn an Ultra shoe yet. So it's probably not as wide as, say, an Ultra. So I think it'll accommodate most feet perfectly fine. I generally prefer a more narrow, snug fit, but this shoe does fit me well, and I like the fit overall and the room that it gives me in the toe box. I don't find it to be too roomy, but just enough that my toes can splay out, but I don't feel like they're moving around too much, especially when I start really moving on a twisty, technical trail. The midfoot fit is also a little wider. I do prefer a snug fit around the midfoot, but like I was saying earlier, you can really dial it in with that BOA system and the straps, so that's not a concern. It really hugs your foot well. I have never experienced any hot spots or blisters or issues of concern with my feet in this shoe. And I've worn the shoe for some longer runs, a good handful of smaller to medium runs. One that comes to mind is a 22-mile run that I did recently with over 4,000 feet of elevation gain. And the shoe just did, honestly, great. I would not hesitate to use this shoe for an Ultra by any means. The last thing I'll mention about the shoe is that it fits like a sock. There's no tongue. It just wraps around your foot and really becomes part of your foot, allowing you to focus on your run without really any distraction underfoot. So I really like that about this shoe. Now let's talk about the cons of the shoe. I'll get to the price here in a minute, and I'll answer the question, is it worth it? The only real con that I have of the shoe, and there's two, is one, the upper. I love the upper. It is extremely durable. It is just a well-made upper. Like I said, I love the straps and the BOA system that hold it all in place on your foot. But the upper, while it's durable, is not very breathable. So I wish, at least in the summer, I wish the upper would be just a tad more breathable. I think that would be nice. You don't have to worry about water drainage though, because you do get, there's a couple lugs on the bottom of the shoe that you can cut out and that will allow water to drain through and out of the shoe, out of the bottom of the shoe. So don't worry about that, but the upper just doesn't breathe as well as other trail shoes that I've used. The other con is the weight of the shoe. So it comes in a men's size 9 at 303 grams or 10.7 ounces. You know, that's not a heavy shoe, but it's certainly not a lightweight race day shoe. There are a lot of trail shoes that are lighter, and because of that lack of weight, I feel like the shoe just doesn't feel as fast as it's meant to be. So I wish that they could reduce the weight a little bit somehow without removing all the other quality features and elements of the shoe. Again, not a heavy shoe, but certainly not a lightweight shoe, and that makes a difference, especially on race day. Okay, now for the price point. $375. Is the shoe worth it? Well, this is how I would summarize it. If you have slightly deeper pockets and you want the best trail shoe that money can buy, this is the shoe to get. The Speedland SL HSV trail shoe is phenomenal. I have loved running in this shoe, and I will continue to enjoy every mile I get to be in this shoe, to run the miles on the trails in this shoe. It is that good. I love the build and the quality and the way that all these quality materials came together. The whole is definitely greater than the sum of its parts. So is it worth $375? I'll let you be the judge of that, and you can decide for yourself. Last thing I'll mention is that Speedland did send me this shoe for the purpose of review, but all thoughts, opinions, experiences are truly my own. I am not getting influenced in any way or paid to say anything as part of this video. In fact, Speedland doesn't even know that I'm recording and publishing this video. Alrighty, I appreciate you guys being here with me today. Like I said earlier, let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Also, let me know what your favorite trail shoe of all time has been and why. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not a subscriber. I would really appreciate it. And next week on Trail Talk, maybe we'll talk about what got us into running and my running experience. Let me know what you want me to talk about. Let me know what you're interested in. And I guess that is it. Thanks for being here. See you on the next video. Remember to be consistent, express gratitude, and enjoy every mile. I know I am today. Catch you on the next one. Bye now.